Hi everyone, from me, Brent Graham. 1:30 on a Friday afternoon. We interrupt this regular Friday to bring you this Gallagher Premiership preview. We, of course, have had the team announcements now, and I'm going to be speaking to Chris Rowe at the Crow Tips and getting his views on the weekend's action. I noticed we're down to 5 games. There's been lots of drama in the Premiership as far as the financial stability of clubs go, which is very, very sad. We saw Worcester disappear and now Wasps as well. So, Chris, let me welcome you to the show, first of all. And then just a quick word on what's happening there and, what you think the guys can do about it. It would probably warrant a show on its own, so you don't have to go into too much detail. But what's happening there in the Premiership at the moment?
Yeah, it's exactly right. So both the clubs have obviously just completely overextended themselves into debt that they can no longer honor, right? So there's just no way out of them going in through liquidation. And I guess, the few Cowboys at Worcester seem to be the problem, and again also at Wasps. I mean, they've changed a lot over the years. Moving out of London to Coventry and all the everything that's gone with that move. And the guy's saying and as we realize, rugby salary prices are just too way overinflated at the moment, aren't they? They just can't afford to be paying salaries that they do. So it's a wake-up call for rugby in general. I think there's a few clubs, other clubs still simmering. So let's hope this is not going to carry on into other bigger clubs, but let's see. It's so sad because Wasps are a great club institution. I really enjoyed following them and watching them. I've been to a few of their games when they were in Adams Park. It was great atmosphere in Adams Park back in the day when they were doing well. So hopefully we do see them back, eh?
Yeah, that's it. I mean, I always told my son, play cricket, not rugby, if you want the big bucks. And it's starting to look more and more like that way when you look at things like the IPL or soccer, I guess, if you could play that as well. But let's get cracking with the first game here. Because I didn't see the original handicap, so I'm not sure if there's been a lot of movement since the team announcement. We've got Sale Sharks here at minus 11.5 against London Irish, and I've got a points line for you here as well of 54.5.
Yeah, I think there might have been minus 10.5 earlier on the week, so it hasn't moved a lot. Interesting one. I think, Sale have been playing well. They're the form team. I'm expected this cap to be around here. Maybe could have been higher. Irish don't often travel well as well. Some of the team. Irish also for bye last week, and obviously Sale have beaten Exeter and who was it that beats also last week? The surprising win. They've come off 2 really big wins, right? So I like it. They're also a lot stronger. Ashton have come in the lineup. Ashton's coming into hooker. Tom Curry's in. Daniel Duplessis in. Rafi Quirk starts. So this is a much stronger Sale side than they've been putting out in previous weeks, you would think. And I do look. There's 2 things that kind of would concern me here. Is Sale on a Friday night for one. Some reason they don't often have been playing or like to play well on Friday nights. But they seem to have turned the tide this season on being slow starters, slow games, low points. So I'm not overly concerned about that. And London Irish, every single game they're going to give you points, and especially on the road. So I'm leaning here on the minus here. I like the minus. I was also looking at the points, but I think I'm just because I'm going to take that factor in just a little bit of Sale on a night game. And the changes, yes, they're big names coming in, but when they're first games of the season, they don't always hit the ground running. I've also noticed it can cause a little bit of disruption because they haven't got into the swing of things yet. So I do take that into factor sometimes. I've seen that before. You get all worked up, a big name comes in, but he's just finding his feet and he has a quiet game, So I do like Sale minus here if I'm on the minus. The Sale points are at 33. I do think Sale are going to get points in this game. So I'm going to look at the Sale 33 points, but I also really like Sale in a double. I'll tease Sale down to like 28 points. I'm pretty sure they're going to cover 28 points at home to Irish. And another angle of stats here, all of London Irish's games this season, the second half has been the highest point scorer in all 7 or 8 games. And I'd see something similar. I think Irish are going to come out fast because they've had their bye. They'll be probably really rearing. Sale are solid. And I think the wheels will start turning in motion again in the second half. So that's a nice stat and trend to look at. So if you could get anything, I've seen 1.8 a lot for second half scoring. If you can get something like that, that's one of my better bets for the weekend as well.
Right, and welcome to all the boys on the live chat there. Shark saying unders for him, Darren Holiday. only issue for him is the lack of Teologi. He's also pointing out, I think the game you were thinking of that Sale won was against Leicester. Chris?
That's a Leicester, yeah. So I've just beaten Leicester and Exeter. Yes. Yeah. Which right, I was, it wasn't.
Yeah, what was the handicap in that game?
On which one?
On the Leicester game when Sale beat
Leicester. Leicester were -6.
Okay.
Yeah, Leicester were -6. So, yeah. So it was a big. Right. We all called Leicester because Leicester brought in some players. Even more players this week. We'll discuss them, but everyone was expecting Leicester bounce back at home, but Sale took care of business. Leicester were nowhere in the second half. Leicester have cost me loads the last 2 weeks. The last try against Saracens, and then I had Leicester +8, and it was 10 difference. So they've killed me big time the last 2 weeks.
It's funny how you get teams like that. Some seasons or whatever, you just can't catch it. I even had that with bookmakers. No. I can have one bookmaker that it doesn't matter what I bet on, I'll win. And other bookmakers I just can't win with, and you find you're funding the one while withdrawing out the other. Not actually what you want. You want to spread the winnings around a bit. Otherwise, the one you're winning with gets a bit tired of you. Yeah. But
there's nothing makes me worse when I want to put a hedge on. When I want to put a hedge on a different bookie, and then I've lost it in the game that I have had no time to get money moved, and I
know exactly how you feel there. Gloucester -5.5 against the Bristol Bears.
Wow, I'm getting 7, and I really like the 7. So if your punters out there getting -5.5, I like Gloucester. Yeah, they got Chris Harris coming into the lineup. That always makes them stronger. Moving their Georgian centre into inside, which is better at inside. You got Johnny May back on the wing. You got Singleton starting, but that's fine. The Argentine hooker's done really well. So they've strengthened. They were also off on a bye, a bit flat against Bath last week. I think that game again would have done them good coming back into their home ground. I think I'm expecting a big performance from them. Bristol, arguably the changes they made. Okay, Morahan's coming in, but they lost their 2 back rows. Their captain Heenan, so they arguably are weaker. They haven't been showing a lot of form. I love Gloucester on the -5.5 if that's what you get in. That's one of my better bets.
That was available at Sunbet literally just before the show. So I guess this is one of the things as well. I now see it range. I'm going to bring it back up at 6.5 because that's what it is at Sunbet at the moment. But I see 8.5 at Player Bets. So as you suggested, and this could be one of those examples where
there's no ways it will stand at 5.5 with the team news. That's I said if you could get 5.5, that would be good.
I mean, based on what we've seen there, even if you get the 6.5 now, it looks like a decent deal because it's
6.5 in places. The 8.5 is starting to get a little bit concerned, but anything 5, 6, 7 definitely worth a take. And I mean, if you go, I must have gone down. I know we're in just decimals, but I was getting Gloucester on some places a 140 for the outright, that's brilliant for a double. I don't think you're going to get that price now, but I was looking at that and would have stuck that in a double or multi this weekend as well.
Well, as I'm talking to you, I'm just editing the next one because, as I say, I literally did these in the 10 minutes before the show, and there's been movement.
No, I don't. The thing is, I'm trying to look through the teams, and I'm not looking at the market. I'd have to focus on the teams of the markets in the half an hour that we have. So I just focused on the teams.
No, there we go.
See, the Saints was 14, and what was one of my best bets, and now it's at 18. So
and when I did it, it was 16, and it's moved. It's moved 2 points in the last few minutes. It's 18, and I suppose then the question becomes: is it still worth a bet?
You know what? Falcons side, they've made loads of changes. There's no Argentinian center combo that's done them well the last couple of weeks. 3 changes in the back row. They don't travel well at all. Saints, they're bringing guys in and just bringing. Okay, they're losing bigger, but Grayson's whenever he's coming for him, he's done well. Just give me a sec here. I mean, Augustus comes in and Ribbons. That's firepower in the pack, definitely. And I say, Newcastle, as I said, made the changes, don't travel well. I was getting 14. That's what I was going to quote on the show now. 18's going high. I still think Saints win by 20 plus, but it's not. It was a super best bet, super confident bet. But at 18, you actually know you can't look. The points has gone up a little bit here as well. The points were it was a 58, so it's gone up to a point as well. And
So
I don't know
home
what you
points
get.
is now 39.5. Saints is 39.5.
Yeah, I was getting 37, which I liked. And again, that's another one. Tees and Saints down to 33. I'll be shocked if they score less than 33 points. So that was another beaut for a double or a multi. But at 18, still think Saints probably can't cover this, but not as confident as the 14 was.
And I guess that's the thing about team news as well, Chris. I mean, a lot of people like to wait for the team news before placing the bet, and I can understand that strategy. But the other strategy to have is you can have a feel for which way they're going. Okay, they're on the road. This team often rest players on the road, or they know they've got no chance of winning, therefore they're going to rest players. So you can often get the better price by moving before team news. Of course, the danger there, we've seen it a few times in local rugby. I remember the one time we thought the Bulls were going to field a weaker side for whatever reason. And they put out the flipping A stringers and the handicap moved by like 20 points. But that's the thing. You'd make that decision as a punter. You either get in early if you think there's value, or if you're not, yes, rather wait for team selection. But you're not going to get a lot of movement after the team selections. The first half an hour, and then it should settle.
So I totally get it. I know guys like Brendan's very good at it. UK rugby bets are pretty good at it. Anticipating team news and going right into the depths of team information. I agree with that, but my strategy is I like to wait. I like to get as much information as possible. I don't sometimes place bets until the last 10 minutes before that I have all the information. And then I like to hedge. I like in play as well. So if have felt I have gone wrong, I like to play in play and hedge, or I've often come out more in profit on my in play hedging than I did on my pre-match bet. So that's my strategy. I prefer to have all the information and then see what's going on the field than preempt a couple of days before. It's just my strategy. I know some shoot guys have a strategy where I see they pick it, and those are the guys you follow because you know that they're doing that work that you're not, and if you trust them to do it, you should follow them. And work hard, not hard.
Spot on. But I've also got I know it's a strange thing. I like to look at the early value and
yeah, I know a lot of guys do.
But I hate placing a bet early in the week, if that makes sense. Me too. Like, I see the bet, and I know it's a good bet, and I know the line is going to move, but I still prefer to wait until close to the time, just because I hate taking money out of my account in case I see something else that night that I want to bet on. Yeah. And I would like to have the money there.
I hate having my stake tied up days before.
Yes.
And something comes that I want to try to be disciplined and structured. And then if I do that, I'm inevitably still depositing to put the next bet that I've seen. But even though, and there we go. And there the spiral goes. But then the one starts going off, and then I'm back in to try cover that one, and then the whole mess starts to happen. So if you keep to your way and disciplined, I find my best weekends is when I'm calm and I'm keeping to my guns, sticking to my guns, and staying disciplined. When I start going too many games and listening to a lot more than I should, or fingers and pies in the air and hedging on a different sport maybe because I'm on tilt, then the weekend gets a bit messy,
Yes. WJS just saying he backs himself with the original handicaps. And yes, I must admit, there was a time years ago in South Africa, it was Hilton Hassan, I think they were called Pearl Betting or Black Pearl Betting, came out. And they used to come out on the Monday with Super Rugby handicaps. And I worked out that if it wasn't for taking the early caps, I wouldn't have actually made money because I made a lot of money there. So nothing against it. It's just something about tying the money up that gets me. But let's move on to the next game, Chris. Saracens minus 22.5.
Another one that's gone up. It was 20 before team news. Again, so Saracens, just quickly some team news. They've also brought in some guys. Well, Vinny Pola is suspended from that issue you had last week. Alex Good and Itoja is back. And Bath have made a few changes. They've got Bayliss and De Carpentier back into the back row. And Rory McConaughey, who I quite enjoy, is starting at wing. But they got two debutants on the bench. So format Saracens are in, and the way Bath are playing. Bath are scoring points, but they're scoring, like I told you, if you listened to the show last week, I said Bath score their points when the game is dead and nothing's matters. Like even last week, every game they were 20 or 30 points down, and that's where they've got their points. But they haven't scored less than 17. So you need. This is another one where you got to see if you can anticipate how the game's going to go. But Saracens are in cracking form. They were doing the job against Newcastle last week. I got stuck on a lot of overs last week because three out of the four quarterfinals in NPC went unders, and the 2 overs I punted went unders in the Prem. So wasn't a good weekend for me on the points bet. And so the red card there at Newcastle thwarted Saracens. They were ticking along nicely. So I'm going to call it again. Saracens at home are going to be ruthless. Bath, I just don't see, if Saracens put the pedal on here, they got pretty much their full strength side, probably stronger. Bath are weaker on the bench. What are Bath are going to, Saracens can go 40 points up here, but Saracens aren't usually, I have seen that they did it against Northampton last season. They went like 40 points ahead and brought them back into a 2-point game. I just don't think Bath are Northampton, though. I just don't know if I think Saracens are built on from that last season anyway. They're looking much better as well. So this could be a demolition derby again for Bath, 30 points easily. So again, another one I quite like at a medium strength, even a minus 22. And again, I'm coming back from my points because you've seen last week, Thoughts and I, we did say that it looked like a trap like there was unders games around. I think you got teams scoring points and weak teams away from home that always leak points. So I'm gonna be angling on the points this weekend. So yeah, like the medium on the minus 20. I think they win by 30, and another beautiful game to tease down to like 53 points. That's definitely going to go over 53 points, I'm sure, to put in a double somewhere.
Oh, to put in a double, yeah, I got you. Just to look at Saracens' point line over 41.5. So if you fancy them by 30, that's another thing to consider, is going overs on Saracens' points. Obviously, another option there. Right, we got one game left. Chris, Harlequins up against Leicester. I have seen this cap move on Sunday just from 3.5 to 4.5 while we've been chatting, but it is 4.5.
Another one that. Yeah, I'm getting. Yeah, I also moved from. I was getting 3.5 before the show. Another one that's interesting because. In terms of the team, Esterhazen's back for Quins, which obviously good news. But again, he hasn't played in a while, and I can't think of his name. That guy who played 12 last game or 2 games, he had played bloody well. I thought he could have earned himself a spot in the starting lineup still. But Leicester have also brought back guys as well. You got Young's back, you got Ashton, you got Rafal, so you got experience and some energy back in. So I think that's going to reinvigorate Leicester. I know they've been poor and they've cost me. I'm not backing Leicester this weekend because I don't like to go against Quins at home. But the total points is at 52, and that's my best bet of the weekend. I don't know if you still get in it, even if it's 55.
Locally, but where are you getting it overseas there at the moment?
On Boyles, I've already piled into that. It was 52.5, 27 for Quins, 24 for Leicester.
It probably is because Darren's saying here that he likes Quins over 27.5. So
yeah.
Chances are it's available, but not for long, eh?
No, if you can get 50 to 51, if you fancy overs, you like it, just get stuck in. I've taken it, so I'm happy. Quins at home, we know this. On a sunny Sunday afternoon at home, you know what's coming. And their coach says they're not changing their style. They never will. Leicester have to click. I think these Liebenberg and these guys they brought in are going to give them oomph. They have to bounce back. They didn't become really bad overnight. Okay, they hit Exeter and Saracens, Sale and Saracens who are on form. They're the form teams. So who's to say that they don't give Quins? I think the cap's quite well capped actually. Leicester are in this game, but it's going over 52 points. I'm almost.
Yeah, you can get 52.5 on Betway locally, and I quickly popped on World Sports Betting. I expect Bet Exchange will have it as well. So definitely still available there, Chris. And well, I don't know what I'm missing here because I capped that at least 57. Unless someone has something I don't know, because the weather looks fine. Leicester have been leaking points left, right, and centre. Quinn score points left, right, and centre. I don't know what's going on with that line. Right. So I think you kind of mentioned it at the end in that final game there, but your best bet then is that the over 52.5 points.
Yeah, that was my best bet. Yeah.
Okay.
And it was also Saints at minus 14 and Gloucester minus 7 were my 3 top fancies, and Sale Irish second half. So those four lines are my top fancies for this weekend for sure. I'm going to get stuck into a lot of doubles. Yeah, put tees and points down and taking overs. That's for sure. Go back. I'm confident. There's a little bit of rain around, but I think it's going to be fine. I think the points are going to come back this weekend for the Prem. So that's a route I'm going to take as well.
Excellent. Well, thanks to all the boys in the live chat who joined us there. Well, we know 1:30 on a Friday afternoon is not everyone's cup of tea, but it is great if you can join us. And if you haven't, if you're watching the recording, thanks a lot as well. Just a reminder, we got 2 other previews we've done in the last 24 hours or so. We got the World Cup Women's preview that was with Harry Jones. That is on our YouTube channel. We've also got the Handicap, our flagship show on a Thursday night, a rugby chat that matters. We had the Oracle and the Undertaker, Henrik Swart on last night. Also, if you go down below this preview, you'll find a link to our Best Bet newsletter, which I'm hoping to get out in the next half an hour, depending on what else happens in my life. But that should go out there. Some nice fancies this weekend. And also the link to the forum. So, Chris, all that remains is to thank you very much for coming on, and look forward to chatting you again soon and watching your tweets over the weekend.
Oh yeah, I'll pop this summary back on Twitter, and I'll pop it in the forum as well. I'll log in and pop in summary about it.
Brilliant, man.
Yeah,
Chris, have a cracking weekend, and thanks everyone. Have a good one, and let's hit those bookies hard.
Yeah, have a good one, guys, and have a good